Okay, we snuck away from our kids to do this Q&A video that we have lots and lots of questions for. I don't think we'll get through all the questions in this session, but we're going to do as much as we can before we get interrupted. It's actually morning. Our kids are just waking up. I put out milk and cereal on the table to try to defer them. So we'll see how much we get done. I did not organize these in any way. We have a lot of questions and I just didn't have time to sort them. So we're just gonna go from the top and just work our way down and get as much done as we can. Okay, and we decided to do this together because there's a lot of questions. No, well, yeah, it's actually our anniversary today, 14 years. There's a lot of questions that I feel like he could answer better. Should I do an introduction? I don't know. If you don't know who we are, this is Jason, I'm Julie, and we have 8 kids. We live out in the country. We bought almost 16 acres and it had a house on it that was not livable, and so right now we're living in a tiny home that we built until the day that we can build a big farmhouse. We homeschool, and I think a lot of the questions pertain to that little introduction, so that gives you a place to start. And you can, if you don't know us at all, check out our other different videos and you'll see a better idea of why we're answering these questions the way we are. Okay. So Kim Rector said, instead of building a new home, would you ever just add on to the home you're in, the tiny home? And we said no.
No. Mostly because we feel like we have a vision for what the property's going to be like in the end, or in the middle, whatever that means. But having an extension onto the small house does not fit with what we feel like we're called to do.
We believe our little house that we're living in right now, we want to be a guest home for other people one day. So it's going to be a separate thing. If you get your dream accomplished and build a pavilion and overnight accommodations, will you welcome any religion or just of your faith for retreats? Anybody's welcome is what we had glanced through this question and talked about yesterday. And we said anybody's welcome. However, we are Christians, and so we will share our faith with Jesus with anybody. So that kind of answers that. Okay. Oh, and that was from Rebecca. So Ani, I hope I pronounce all these names right, because we're Kray-key and we hear it every which way. Kreke, Kreke.
They add letters in there.
Right.
Cranky.
Cranky, yeah. But it's Kray-key. So anyway, Ani says, love your videos. Can I ask, is homeschooling difficult? Do the kids miss the social interaction with other children? Well, they don't know what to miss because this is all that they've ever known. We've only homeschooled. I can speak from a personal experience on that, though, because I actually went to a public school through 8th grade, and then my mom, I was the oldest, we started homeschooling all of us. So I did have that contrast, and I can say that I did not miss it. We still visited, we still had friends and played with other kids, and I had sisters that we played together, so it wasn't a big deal for me. My kids actually, they're still in, like...
Trail Life,
yeah, they're
AHG, CVS.
Yeah, we're in a lot of groups to where they have weekly, fellowship with other kids their age there. They have a lot of siblings, so there's always somebody to play with. Yeah, and
some 2 or 3 times
we have friends over all through the summer. We do Friend Friday, where on Fridays we'll just sometimes we'll have 20 kids here, so they have a lot of social interaction, so I don't think that's what it seems. Is homeschooling difficult? Uh-oh, there's a cat that just jumped up next to our camera. Get down, cat.
Smokey, down.
Yes, it is difficult, and it is not difficult. I think it's like anything that you undertake, that there are hard things to it, and there are just, easy things to it. There are good days, there are bad days. It's like anything in life. Homeschooling is you have a lot of freedom to do it the way you want it, and because I believe that, and maybe I'll get into this more later, but I believe that learning is like a lifelong thing, not just a, constrained within a few hours, a few days, a few years. And so it takes a lot of the pressure off because it's just what we do as a way of life. And so that makes it less difficult. Has the attitude, Debbie Hines, has the attitude toward large families changed? I had only 4 children, but people always looked at me like I had 2 heads when I said I had 4 children. And these were church people. I was a stay-at-home mom. This was 40 years ago, and I always got, "You don't work, do you?" And I'd say, "I have 4 children. I don't do a thing." I sure hope things have changed.
No.
No, people still are like, "Wow."
Yeah, it's funny though,
Hey,
because
good.
it's not like we're saying 4. We got that at 4 and 5 and 6, even 7, but it's like at 8, they just think you're crazy and you're in a different category. I think, I don't know. But we definitely get the wow effect often.
Yeah, I agree. The Babcocks, who also, this is fun, they have, if you look up the Babcocks, that's their last name, on YouTube, they have a channel too, and they actually just moved into a tiny house a little while ago. So anyway, what's your favorite part about living in your tiny home?
I like the closeness.
I was just going to say, that's my favorite part and my least favorite part.
Yeah.
Like, being really close together, that's both, because it's wonderful having everybody together, and sometimes it, like, makes you want to pull your hair out.
Yeah, when things are good and everybody's
it's really good.
fed and rested and in a good mood, it's good.
Right. And when it's not,
And then
it's
not, it's not.
Yeah. Also, it's really easy to clean.
Yeah.
That's a big, it's fast to clean, I should say. Ole Svensson. Do I say that right? Because this is a sweet couple that...
Phonetically,
Ole Svensson.
put your name in the comments next time
that would
if
be
we're not getting it right.
Okay. Have you considered buying a used school bus for transporting? One of the smaller size one. I see people doing all sorts of things with them. You might have to repaint it, but you wouldn't have to gut it. You'd be keeping the seats in it.
So no and yes. So no, not for transportation. We're not quite there yet. Our van sits 12. We have 2 empty seats, and we get really good fuel economy for the size of the vehicle and its capabilities.
Right, and we could get a 15 passenger also. They
Which
have regular.
We're sitting next to right now. Yes, by the way, just to jump ahead a question, yes, the white van is still for sale, which is a 15 passenger.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yep. But I wanted to say that we had considered getting like a shuttle bus and converting it into an RV instead of having a camper. So yeah, or school bus, depending
So
on
it'd be
how we
more
do it.
just for fun.
It would be for fun,
basically,
yeah.
because we get such not gas mileage.
Fuel economy.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what you call a diesel. Okay.
Yes.
How do you manage everything, like YouTube, family, etc.?
She's awesome.
No, I don't do everything. I just leave things out and I do what I feel like I'm supposed to do and let go of the rest. YouTube, I have like a system that works for me. I think at first when I did it, it felt really like awkward and I couldn't figure out how to fit it in. I just kept working. Now, Jason gives me Monday nights off that I go to
I'm a good boss.
Panera Bread, where they have good Wi-Fi because ours is kind of sketchy out here. And that's when that's when I upload videos. So during the week, I will make sure that I have 3 videos recorded, and I'll edit here and there. Sometimes when the kids are in bed, if I don't fall asleep, or when they're having their screen time, I'll edit, and I just make sure that on Monday I try to have 3 videos finished so that I can load those videos on Monday and have them ready, scheduled for the next week. So family, etc. I know another question gets into this more later because I did glance through some of them, so I will talk more about that in a minute. Amanda, that was from Abby Rose. Amanda Harrington says, violins, I saw many hanging by your piano in your old house. Do you still play? And how were you hanging them? Yeah, we've never had formal lessons happen. I would like that in the future, but the kids enjoy just playing by ear. Mm-hmm. Right now, they're just in their cases. We don't have them hung. But we had
something that was on Amazon where it was basically a fork and then a hook. A hook for the bow and a fork for the neck of the violin, and it has like surgical tubing or slingshot tubing wall, right? On the it was really simple. Very cheap.
I will, if I can find that link, I'll put it in the description box.
Yep.
Melissa Rivera says, how did you and hubby meet? We met at a health food store.
We did.
I was working and he came in with his mom.
My story's better. So
tell us.
I was trying to become healthy and I was becoming a vegan, and
but you actually came in with your mom.
I did.
She's
You're right. All right. Fine. Edit that out. I came in with my mom, who was looking for low-carb bagels, and when we walked in, Julie was at the counter with the owner, and as soon as we came in, instead of getting a hello, it was just this big smile from this beautiful girl. And like, she kept smiling every time I looked at her. There was this big smile, and it just took over my body, and like, couldn't stop smiling myself.
This is getting sappy.
It's our anniversary, we're allowed.
That's true.
And it was like, she just had something about her that I just couldn't shake off. I've seen beautiful women before, but this one was different. And so when I walked out, I pulled a private investigator move. I looked around at all the vehicles, and I saw that there was a car and 2 pickup trucks.
It's a really small health food store.
It's a small town too.
Yeah.
So I figured that she was the Honda, and then I stalked her out. Next time I saw the Honda by itself, when I was driving through.
And then you came in to talk about your healthy diet.
Yeah, I was fasting, and I ended up breaking my fast and buying like $120 worth of groceries, which was a big deal for a bachelor back then. Anyway, then I asked her out right before I left because I didn't want to have rejection, and she said yes, and the rest is
here we are, 14 years later. No, more than that, 17.
17.
And
a half.
Alan, one mom. How did you look for the land you live in right now? Do you live on the countryside or close to the city? How do you handle going to public places with all the children? What are the safety rules? How do you check the children's homeschool work? What subjects do you teach? What days? This is a lot of good questions. How do you have the energy and time to cook during a day of homeschool? How did you find your midwife? Do you use insurance or pay? Whew. How do we find our land? It was online, right?
Right. So it was a foreclosure. So I really, really, really like searching and looking for things. And so I don't want to say like I've perfected the art, but there's certain ways of understanding how to word things to find more options than if you were to generically pick one word and use it. So understanding the terms of what you're looking for, so foreclosures or properties, I don't know, it's not so much with land, I suppose, but we searched out there for foreclosures because we wanted a better deal.
We wanted the most bang for our buck.
But ultimately we were looking for the land, size. And so that was our search, and many different searches, many different sites, because some would populate or whatever.
And when we found this place, then it actually went under contract with somebody else.
3 times.
Right.
3 times. It was under contract, went out of contract, went under contract.
Right, because it's a big project. I think probably
the banks wouldn't give the people the loan because of the amount of work.
So don't give up if you find a place that you feel like God is leading you there and it does go into contract or something, just keep waiting on him, because
ultimately that was it. It wasn't so we looked at a beautiful property before this, and it was a foreclosure too. But it was we were walking around, and I was like, okay, great, and my workshop's gonna go here, and Julie's this will go there, and the studio will go here, and this and that, and there's a detached garage, that'll be great for me, and the Holy Spirit just kind of snatched me out and said, hey, where do I belong in this? And then so it put us on a different focus, that we were like, okay, God, what do you have for us? What do you want for us? What's this property gonna be like? What do you want to do? And then it was just like, we would walk through, if you will, a corridor where he would open up doors when we needed to have more faith in that. But it was always like, trust him, and he never failed. Even when it came down to the final accepting of the offers, which maybe we can talk about some other time.
Right. No more.
It was just awesome. Faith building situation for sure.
And we know this is where he wants us.
Yep, confirmed.
And it says the countryside or close to the city. We're really close to a very small town.
5 minutes.
So, but we're pretty far from the city. We used to be close to.
We're 30 minutes from St. Louis.
Yeah.
County.
And longer if you want to get into the city. We used to live in St. Louis City. So that's been a switch for us. How do you handle going to public places with all the children, and what are the safety rules? Hi, sweetie. You want to go help her while there's a couple homeschool questions here I could answer. Thank you.
What's up?
She's worried about the kitty up there. They can climb up and down. They're good.
They're on top of the barn.
if we're going to a very busy public place where I know there's going to be a crowd, I will kind of try to dress everybody in similar colors because it just makes it easier to keep your eye on everybody. But we buddy people up. We will specifically partner kids. They have their buddy teams, but then we'll reinforce that when we go, to keep that person's hand. Of course, I'm behind, or Jason keeping track of everybody. However, that just helps to give a system. And we will, we have the stroller, which makes it really awesome because then you have a central place for our little ones to stay by the stroller. And we do review things. I mean, even when I go to the library, it's not a safety thing, but before we step in the door every time, which they've been to the library so many times, I'll just say walk and whisper to remind them, because kids need constant reminders of how to behave. Yeah, we're working on that with James because he's our wild child right now. We had a crazy incident yesterday with him just having fun, running away, hollering. So yeah, we go over what are the safety rules. I'd say it kind of depends on the place, but in general, just...
We did for the taste.
Yeah, that's right. You can look at our video if you want to see us talking things out with the kids of when we went to the food fair downtown. I think it was like city in the country or something like that it's called. But yeah, we just talk about staying close together. Obviously they don't run off. Our older kids are also good about it now that once you teach your older ones when they're small, then the younger ones just kind of follow along. And I've also found that like boundaries, when kids know boundaries, toddlers, they'll try to push those boundaries once, and if you let them past it, then you're going to have a hard time ever keeping those boundaries again. Like we found with James yesterday. We were all sitting together in a row, and he like snuck out of the side because of, we were focused on what we were doing, and he was just like one step outside of that natural boundary, kind of looking at us, but it was enough that for the rest of the time that we were there, he kept trying to get out again because he knew, okay, I could get past this invisible line. So I think it is good right off the bat to talk to kids and say, you can stay right here by mommy in this space, or you need your hand on the cart or hand on the stroller. And then each time that they don't do that, just be like, remind them, hand on the cart, hand on the stroller, or whatever your natural thing is. Just keep reinforcing it because, of course, they're going to test you because they're kids. And also, don't freak out when you're in public and your kid has a meltdown because it's okay. We've all done it. I can remember with my first kid meltdown, I was in Target, and little toddler Bella had just this screaming meltdown, and I was mortified. I was like, just open up the floor and let me fall into it right now because I'm so embarrassed. And time goes on, I realize like, okay, every kid's gonna have a screaming meltdown in public because that's just part of being a kid, I guess, and helping your parents to be humble. Okay, how do you check all the children's homeschool work? Math is online, so it's actually it's wonderful. We use teaching textbooks, and good morning. And it checks itself. It actually, everything is out there for me. So I walk them through it, and I help them when needed, but I don't have to check that at all. And I think math is the hardest thing to keep up with checking. The rest of it, we kind of do together, and you can see one of my homeschooling videos to see. I think I have a homeschooling playlist that you can kind of get a better idea of how we homeschool. We don't do like workbooks, and so there's not a lot of checking. We just homeschool in a different way. What subjects do you teach and in what days? Every day they do math, English. We do our CBS, our Bible study homework. English is like grammar and spelling. And then on different days, we'll do history together or science together. So that will vary on which day it is. And I actually have a homeschool curriculum video that I can link that shows exactly what we're doing this school year. How do you have the energy and time to cook during a day of homeschool? Well, it depends on the day. She's waking up. I thought you were going to sleep through this. I'm a pretty energized person, actually. When I'm pregnant, I do get pretty tired, and I'll try to take little naps. But overall, I've got quite a lot of energy. I kind of hit the ground running as soon as I
Without
wake
caffeine,
up.
too.
Yeah, I don't drink coffee or anything. Maybe that's why.
True story.
But I'm just naturally a pretty energized person, so I kind of go. I also have been using more of my crock pot and Instant Pot for, Pepper's gonna get a game of fetch right here in the middle of the video.
Sorry.
That helps because, you know, in the evening you do tend to be like, I do not feel like making dinner. That does happen.
That was really good, especially before and after the baby, where you had these meals where we just drop it in there.
Yeah, I did a big freezer cooking day at the end of the pregnancy.
That was huge.
We feel like I should just keep doing that.
Right.
That would be helpful.
And then we could use it here and there, and it's just like this. It's like going out to eat, but not.
Right. It's all ready to go. And
Yeah.
the Instant Pot actually helped a lot with that because I used to have to think ahead to thaw those meals to get them in the crock pot. And now I can just take my meals in a bag frozen and throw them in the Instant Pot. So that's working really well. For lunch, I actually made a lunch menu so that we know what we're having on what day, and that eliminated a lot of my thought of trying to think of what are we going to have for lunch today?
Same for snacks, too.
And snacks, too. I finally scheduled snacks.
The kids, I think it helps the kids
they really
because
enjoy
then
it.
they know.
They know. Yeah, for all of our life, I never scheduled snacks and things, but I'm glad I did now because it does help.
So.
And make easy things. Make easy things. Kids are finding us. Good morning. Good morning. How did you find your midwife, and did you use insurance or pay? We found our midwife through word of mouth. I actually had to get a different one this time because my last midwife is doing some certification and can't practice right now. So through word of mouth, we found a different midwife, and we are part of Samaritan Ministries, which is wonderful. We've had it since I was pregnant with Silas, so that would be 10 years we've been with them, and they cover home births 100%. And the supplements that I take, whoa, loud birds. We have guinea fowl, and when they get worked up, they get really noisy. Sorry about that. They even cover the prenatal supplements that I took and the iron that I have to take. They covered all of that. So that, yeah, if you're interested in them, check them out because they're really, it's a really cool organization.
Yep.
Okay, should we keep going? We haven't gotten too badly interrupted.
Sure.
Kenyon Bissett says, and actually, this is probably not Kenyon. This would be Elizabeth, maybe? Do all the kids go to bed at the same time? What time is bedtime? Do you see yourselves in the new house by the time James is ready to move downstairs with the big kids? Let's go to bed at the same time. And what time is bedtime? We have a really cool setup right now because all the kids are in a bunk room except the little two. And they have curtains on their beds. So everybody goes in at the same time, like around 8:30. But then Jason or I will put the two little boys, the 4 and 6-year-old, we will like lay in one of their beds and read to them and put them to bed right away. Yep. Which gives the older kids time to
brush your
read.
teeth, get their jammies on.
Well, yeah, they're typically in there though. Some of our oldest ones are a little slower, but then they can read longer depending on their age.
'Cause they're old.
Right, they'll read for another hour or so, and
then we slowly work up to say goodnight.
Yeah, so it works out pretty perfectly because then everybody can be together but still go to bed at a time that's appropriate for them. Do we see ourselves in the new house by the time James is ready to move downstairs? Probably not. No. We're going slow. This is slow. James can bunk up with Jeremiah is kind of what we're thinking because Jeremiah's 4. Oh, Samuel, you want him?
You want him? All right.
Okay, well, we'll see how that goes.
We got it on camera.
They're so little in those big beds in the bunk room that
there's so
you
much
could
room.
Easily fit 2 kids in, but right now...
Yeah, I fall asleep in bed with the kids, no problem.
Yeah, right now he's doing fine upstairs with us. We have 2 baby beds upstairs, and they sleep great together. She is a wonderful nighttime sleeper. She sleeps like, it's just a blessing. She'll sleep 6 hours straight, and when she does wake up, she does not make a peep. I can change her diaper, and she will just be quiet, and I'll nurse her, and she'll go back to sleep. I mean, she's just a dream. I just feel like it's God's grace over our situation right now, because not all my babies are like this. So it works really well. And James has a bed too, although sometime in the middle of the night, he always wants to get in bed with you. He doesn't really care about me.
Yeah. We're working on that.
So they get to be cozy together. Yeah, I'm there, but he just likes to snuggle with you. He doesn't. It's good. It's good. Shilpa, Lydia is looking so big already. Oh, yes, she is. She is really grown. She's 6 weeks. Okay, Sarah Zoin Benz is this name. I can see most of my questions have been asked, but I have 4 kids. I'm interested in larger families and how they function. Can you please share more about age gaps and how you know you're ready for another baby, or if you just trust in God? We just trust God. He sends them when he wants them. Navina says Lydia's so
Age
beautiful.
gaps?
Oh,
About 22 to 24.
Oh, their age gaps.
Yeah.
Yeah. Our closest was Bella and Leo. They were 19 months apart, our first 2. And then our farthest gap was Elsie to Samuel, right?
26 months.
No, that's not true. Maybe it's...
We have 26
This
months.
is bad.
Whatever.
I should have...
Somebody's 26 months apart.
Yeah. We're not good about remembering all the numbers, folks. Even when
we know when their birthdays are.
Yeah. We know all their birthdays, but sorry about that. Right. I'd say our farthest is 20. A little over 2 years. Okay. Navina says, and she's actually the one who really got me going with doing this Q&A. I thought about doing it, but she finally is like, can you please do a Q&A? So here we are. Tell us how you met Jason and your testimony, please. We feel like we should do a separate video for our testimonies because it's kind of long. And we said how we met.
It's great.
So that's good. Yeah.
Mosquito smack.
But we both, the mosquitoes are coming out. We both...
Which is unusual. We actually don't have a lot of mosquitoes where we're at. We had more in the city than we have here. So we have like probably 2 or 3 weeks of mosquitoes periodically, and that's it. It's great.
Right. But so we'll do a separate, good morning. We'll do a separate testimony video, but it's really cool because our walk of faith has been so similar. We both were baptized together after we already had 2 kids, and we've just really kept in step with one another in our growth in the Lord. So it's been pretty awesome.